Hello guys, in this video I share most popular Nigerian food recipes. Welcome to my channel. This video is going to show you how to make the perfect Nigerian stew. So if that's what you are looking for, then you should watch to the end. The major ingredients for this recipe is the tomatoes, the onions and the peppers. And then for protein, you can switch between using fish, turkey, chicken, pork, goat meat, whatever meat of your choice. It's totally up to you. So to begin, I'm just going to slice the tomatoes into big chunks, and then I'm going to place it into a pot without water, and then I'll boil it. So just watch to the end to see how the whole video is going to turn out. Trust me, it's going to be an amazing experience, so keep watching. So guys, I just finished slicing the tomatoes and I put it in a pot without water, and I'm going to let it boil till it gets to that stage that you can see now. It took about 15 to 20 minutes to get like this, and this we're just going to continue boiling till the whole water is dried up. So the reason for this step is for me not to overcook it after blending. Once the water is dried up, the whole sourness will be gone, so the tomato is going to have that original sweet taste of tomatoes, and then you can just fry for a few minutes and your stew is ready. So while it's still boiling, I'm just going to go ahead and be cutting the fish. This is me removing the fins, and then I'm going to slice it into smaller pieces depending on your choice. If you want to make it big, you can slice it to whatever size you want. So after that, we're just going to wash it and season it. So just continue watching and see how it turns out. Meanwhile, I have a question for you. Do you like to throw away the head of fish, or you'd rather eat the head of fish? Let me know in the comment section. So guys, I've finished washing the fish now. It's time to season it. You can use whatever favorite fish seasoning of your choice. Just pour it in and then mix it very well. I like using this method to mix because it's quite easy and faster for me. Just flip it over and the whole recipe is combined, the whole ingredients is combined into the fish, as you can see. So after this stage, I'm just going to go ahead and cover it and allow it to marinate for like 1 to 2 hours. So while that one is waiting, I came to check the tomatoes, and the water is almost dried up. As you can see, it has really gone down. This is what we're looking for. At this stage, I'm just going to go ahead and add the peppers. What do you guys call this? In Nigeria, it's called shombo. That's the Yoruba language. So I'm just going to add the peppers and then let it dry up. Let the tomatoes dry up more, and then we're just going to go ahead and blend it. Meanwhile, it's very important for the tomatoes to cool down so that it don't mess up your blender. So once the water is dried up, we're just going to let it cool down. In a hot pan, I'm going to add oil and let it be heated up, then add the fish, and we're going to fry the fish while the tomatoes is still cooling down. We use that time to fry the fish. So it's been frying for some time now. I just came to give it a flip over And I noticed some people usually boil their fish before frying it. How does that work? Even this one that I'm frying like this, I have to still be careful, before while I'm turning it over. I have to still be careful, if not it will just scatter. But some people usually boil theirs before frying. I don't know how that works, but I don't think I'm gonna try that. And meanwhile, Nigerians, how wanna they cope with the economy? this economy is really tough, and prices of foodstuff have gone high. A lot of people are complaining, but I pray that God provides for everybody and we scale through these hard times. So let's continue with our cooking process. Guys, it's been a while now and the fish are properly fried. It's time to remove them from the hot oil, and I have some that have not fried because the pan was not big enough, so I'm just going to put that one after I have removed these ones. I did not remove this one because I noticed it still needs some time to fry very well. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the remaining ones that I left. So I'm just going to fry everything and then we continue with the entire cooking and we're going to see the outcome. Okay. Guys, the whole fish now is properly fried. I'm just removing it from the oil and adding it into a sieve so that the remaining oil can drip out from the fish so that it will not soak oil. Now it's time to blend our pepper, onions and tomatoes. I'm just going to go ahead and pour everything into the blender and blend it until it's very smooth. When I was pouring, I had to be very careful so that it doesn't pour out. So just continue, just try to be careful while we're in the kitchen to avoid spill, to avoid burns. It's very necessary. You want to blend it to be very smooth. It's very important for this recipe. So now I just finished blending. Now this is the main, what do I call it, the main game is about to start. So we have been preparing the ingredients all this while. You have to be very attentive at this stage. In a hot pan, I'm just going to add some oil that has been I use the oil that I used to fry the fish for this. So I just sieve the oil into a clean pot and then I added sliced onions. Allow the onions to saute for about 1 minute, and then we're just going to add tomato paste. This is me adding the tomato paste now. This one is different from the one we grinded, but you can skip it if you don't want. But I like to add tomato paste to complement my tomatoes, especially if you don't have a lot of tomatoes for this and you want it in larger quantity. You can use tomato paste to complement the fresh tomatoes. So I just added it, and I'm going to allow it to fry very well for at least 10 to 15 minutes so that it can be properly fried before adding the blended mix. So it's been about 10 minutes now. I stirred it. Now it's time to add the blended mix. So after adding, I'm just going to stir it. Make sure to scoop out everything from the blender. It's very important. So I'm going to give it a very good mix. Everything will combine and cook very well. Remember, we have cooked the tomatoes before, and it doesn't need a lot of excess frying anymore. So I'm just going to stir it, and I'm going to leave it to fry by itself for like 10 minutes before adding the seasoning. So it's been about 15 minutes now. I'm giving it a quick stir, and then I'm still going to leave it to fry some more. So now I'm back, guys, and it's time to season it. I use 2 chicken seasoning and 2 Maggi cubes. So you know how we do it now. We squeeze the seasoning cubes, and then I'm going to add this powder mix. It contains rosemary, thyme, curry, and some other spice, then some salt, and then I'm just going to mix everything to combine. After mixing everything, we're going to allow it to cook for like 5 minutes before adding the fish. So I did that off camera. Now it's time for me to add the fish. I've added it, as you can see. We're just going to gently fold everything in and allow the fish to release its flavor into the stew, and let it combine. Let it cook for another 8-10 minutes, and it's ready. So guys, you can see that steam coming out. The stew is ready. I've removed it from the hot stove, and I already served my rice. So it's time to enjoy. This is me serving the fish and the stew, and time to eat. The food is ready. Let's taste what we have cooked. If you try this recipe, tell me how it comes out. And if you've cooked Nigerian stew another method other than this, compare this method and your method, and let me know which one you prefer in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate. So it's time to taste the food. Yummy! It tastes absolutely nice. It came out so well. Hello there. let me quickly show you how I make this yummy akara. Yes, akara is a very popular Nigerian food, mostly eaten it as breakfast. Yes, and it's very popular because it's sold on Nigerian streets morning and evening. Just just mention akara, you can get it anywhere, any street, any state in Nigeria. So for the ingredients, you need beans, onions, pepper, crayfish is optional. So you have to peel the beans like this, and after peeling, we transfer it to a blender and blend it until it's very smooth. So I'm going to add just 3 pieces of scotch bonnet. Yes, the amount of pepper you add depending on the size, rather the quantity of the beans. So you can add as much onions as you want. In goes the crayfish. This crayfish is optional, but I like adding crayfish because I won't be using any seasoning cube for this recipe. So the beans are grated. This one that's the color is kind of bright red is because I added bell peppers, while the other one I did not add bell peppers. So that's just the difference in color. So I'm going on to add a little bit of salt and then chopped onions. This process is optional, but if you want to take your akara to the next level, just try adding chopped onions and chopped scotch bonnet to your akara. But if you don't like, maybe if your kids don't like spicy stuff or you don't like spicy food, you don't have to add pepper to it. So go on and mix very well. One thing you will know Nigerians for is akara. I think every Nigerian love akara. I've not seen anybody that doesn't like akara because it's so delicious. When you finish frying it, it's crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside, and it's really filling. Just eat like 2 to 3 balls, you're already feeling full. And some people, they usually eat their own with bread. They'll just open bread and put balls of akara in the middle and call it African burger. So I've mixed it now. I went on to add vegetable oil in a pan and then throw in some onions for flavor. Now the onions is hot, the oil is hot. Time to add the beans batter that you have mixed. So I'm using this big spoon because I want the akara balls to come out big. If you want your akara balls to be smaller, use a small spoon to scoop the grinded beans into the hot oil. So once it's ready, once it starts getting done a little bit, you see the akara balls floating on the oil like this. So you need a lot of oil. If you add little oil to the pan, it's probably might stick to the pan. So you see it should float like this, and that one is already turning brown, so I'm just going to turn it over so that the other side can also fry. Oh god, can you see the beauty? Can you see how and the aroma from the onions, from the, oh god, man, this akara is a very interesting food to make. So it's ready when it's golden brown. I went on to remove it and then fry the remaining batter. You can see I'm using a smaller spoon for this one because I want those ones to come out small. So just like that, you fry, you put it into the oil. When it's brown, you stir it, like you turn it over. When the other side is fried to golden brown, you remove it. That's just how we fry akara. And man, akara is a very interesting meal, an ideal Nigerian breakfast, and it's popular and not expensive to make. So you see this one now is ready. You see the look, beautiful. Oh my god. So for this akara, I'm going to have mine with pap. So you can see me, I'm just making the pap now. Meanwhile, if you want to see a video of how pap is made, just subscribe to this channel because I will be uploading it next. And what do you think? Have you had pap before? Pap is just like corn pudding, similar to custard. It also tastes good and it goes well with akara. So guys, it's ready. Oh my god. You can add milk to your pap, it's optional. So like this, now the food is ready. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Hello, you're wondering what this is? Well, this is garden egg and yam. So we usually make this sauce using garden egg, pepper, eat theirs with rice. So to begin, we're going to wash the garden egg. This is African garden egg, but you can also use eggplants, regular eggplant, for this recipe. So we just wash it very well and then cut it and boil it with the yam. I'm going to show you everything as the video progresses. Now this is me washing it under running water. Make sure you wash it very well, especially if you're buying from Nigerian market where different hands must have touched it. So after washing, I'm just going to go ahead to remove the unwanted parts from the garden egg, and then I'm still going to rinse it with water. So now I'm done with the garden egg. I'm moving to the yam. This is me cutting the yam. I'm going to just peel up the skin. Now it's yam season in Nigeria, and yam is a little bit cheap, but not very cheap compared to old yam. This new yam now are just coming out. The yam season in Nigeria is between late July to end of August stroke September. That's when yam is usually harvested and it's abundant in the Nigerian market. So if you're looking to go into yam business, you can know when to store the yam and then save it until it's towards end of the year when yam begins to go scarce, and then you can resell it for higher profit. So after slicing it, I'm just going to cut it into big piece and wash it and boil it. I'm going to show you all that as the video progresses. Meanwhile, have you ever eaten this food before, or is this your first time trying it? Just let me know in the comments. I would like to hear from you. Now the yam has been properly washed. As you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and transfer everything into the pot and also fit into the pot the garden egg. After that, I'm going to also season it and cook it. Just keep watching to see how it goes. Now let's add salt to the yam and pepper and garden egg. So after adding salt, I'm just going to add a good amount of water. The water can be like half the pot, because once the yam is done, we can also go ahead and drain the water. So the water should just be enough to cook it. Now we're just going to cook it on a very medium heat, and once it's 10 minutes, I'm going to go ahead to remove the garden egg, because now you can see the fork goes into it very well and it's now very soft. This is just how the recipe is, the typical Nigerian recipe, and it's been saving lives since ages. In fact, the first time I tasted it, I was like, oh my god, I so much loved it. but I don't know the origin. I don't know if it's Igbo people that have it or Benin people of Nigeria, or I don't know if it's the whole of Edo State that have it, but I just know that the first time I tasted it was from an Igbo person, and then when I schooled in Edo State, I saw them making this and I loved it. That was where I learned how to make it. It's so delicious. Let me know if you get to try it out, and don't forget to send me pictures. So after removing it from the pot, I'm just going to go ahead and shred it into smaller pieces to enable it cook very well. This is just how the recipe goes. This is the traditional way of making this garden egg sauce in Nigeria. Now the pan is hot, but I just added my palm oil and the oil was sleeping. It's been heated up. Now I added some smoked fish. This is panla fish, but you can use mackerel fish, shawa, titus, any fish of your choice. I think titus is also mackerel. So after that, I'll allow the onions and the fish to saute very well, and then I'm going to add the shredded garden egg and pepper and combine everything to mix very well. Oh my god, the aroma is so overwhelming. This recipe is just quick and it's also affordable. I can call this a very low budget recipe because everything here is not even up to, apart from the yam, everything here is just less than 500 naira. So now I went on to season with some salt, mango powder, crayfish powder, and grounded pepper, which is optional. Then I'm going to mix everything. The food is almost ready. Now this is just all we want. It's starting to cook now. We're just going to let it cook for a little bit and get off the stove. Tell me what Nigerian recipe you want me to recreate for you. Use the ingredients, that's crayfish, and this is onions, scotch bonnet peppers, bell peppers, we call it tatashe in Nigeria, and that is beans flour. You can also use plantain flour for this recipe. And here we have the leaf that we're going to wrap the pudding with, so it's very detailed. Now this is palm oil. I already heated it. Please, if you watch to this stage, please subscribe to my channel. Now let's begin. We're going to go ahead and peel the plantain. I already washed it, so I'm just going to peel it and cut it into small pieces into the blender, as you can see in the video. After that, we're just going to also blend the peppers and the onions and also add the crayfish, and we're just going to blend it into a very smooth puree and continue the whole cooking process. So you want to watch to the end to see how everything is going to turn out. If you're a Nigerian, I'm very sure you must have tasted plantain moimoi before. It's usually sold on the streets of Nigeria together with moimoi, beans moimoi, okpa. If you know what okpa means, it's made from a kind of beans we call okpa. So yeah, that's just it. They are all in the same category of moimoi. We call pudding moimoi in Nigeria. So now I just finished cutting the plantain. I'm just going to go ahead and also cut the onions into bigger pieces so that it can blend very smooth. And I'm also going to go ahead and add the pepper. If you want to remove the seed from the bell peppers, you can go ahead and remove, but I just don't want to remove mine, so I'm just going to go ahead and add water and blend it into a very smooth, like very smooth, as smooth as you can. So I stopped and I decided to add the crayfish because my crayfish was already blended before. I usually blend it in bigger sizes so that I can just use anytime I'm ready. So I just finished blending the plantain now and set it aside. Now we're going to go ahead with the beans flour. This is 1 cup of beans flour. So I'm just transferring it into a bigger bowl, and then I'm just trying to create a space in the middle, and I added 1 cup of water. It looks like so much water, but trust me, it still need more water. Just watch. Now I'm just going to mix everything to combine so that it can, it can come out good. This is just how the recipe goes, and this is how we make it in Nigeria. So if you don't have beans flour, you can as well use plantain flour, and if you don't have plantain flour, just get enough of plantain, like the fresh plantain. You can use unripe plantain and mix it with the ripe one. It's still going to give you the same taste. So now I just mixed the beans flour with the water, and it looks like very thick paste. This is not what we want. Pudding, it has to be a running puree that we have to steam. So I added another 1/2 cup of water, and then I'm just going to mix it until I achieve the desired consistency I'm looking for. Please kindly let me know where you're watching from so that I can send you a special hug. Thank you for supporting my channel. Modesty Kitchen appreciates your support. Please don't forget to share this video to your friends, anybody you think might need this recipe or want to try this recipe. And if you get to try it, please send me pictures on Facebook on Modesty Kitchen, and kindly follow my page on Facebook. Thank you so much. Now I just finished mixing the beans flour. Now we set it aside. Let's prepare the leaf that we're going to use to wrap the moimoi. This leaf, I just got it from the market, so I'm washing it with salt, generous amount of salt and warm water. This will enable us to clean the leaf very well. When we buy these things from the market, especially Nigerian market, they usually shade this leaf close to the roadside, and it's usually very dusty. So different form of germs just must have been on it. So we just have to wash it. You see me rubbing my hands on it to remove whatever dirt. After this, we just rinse it one more time, and it's ready. Now in a clean pot, I just added water, and then some of the leaves that doesn't look very good, Nigerian, they will add both the good and the bad for you in the market. I didn't even notice, so I decided to put that at the bottom of the leaf of the pot rather, and then set it aside. Now let's mix our blended puree with the beans. Now I'm just going to add everything to a bigger bowl and mix everything very well. So for the seasoning, I'm using Maggi cubes and a little bit of salt. So I've crushed it and I added little water to dilute it very well. So I'm just going to pour it into the beans and plantain mixture, and then I'm also going to add the palm oil and allow everything to combine very well. At this stage, you need a lot of patience because you don't want it to be discolored, you don't want the ingredients to be one-sided, so you will patiently mix everything to combine. The first time I made jollof rice, I was 8 years old, and the food was actually good, but oh my god, there was Maggi at one side and there was salt at one side, and I actually cooked a large batch. The whole family was just complaining. I just remember that experience. So if you're making this kind of food, you need patience. Just mix, combine everything very well. So after this, now we're just going to go ahead and wrap. I'm going to show you how to wrap moimoi in the leaf. So this is the stage we are now. So to wrap it, I'm just going to double the leaf. You can use one. I'm going to show you if you want to use one. So you just double it and flip it over each other, and then bend the bottom so it will be like a clone shape, and then it will have a hole inside that you can pour in the beans and plantain puree for this plantain moimoi. So after that, we just cover it up. Don't worry about the mess, just wipe it off with water. That's what I did. So after that, we just bend it over, and it's very, very easy to fold, you see. that's just what we're going to do. Let's do another one. So this time I double the leaf and then I fold it from the bottom like this, and then after folding it you bend the back like so. After that you see a hole in the middle, that's where you pour in the plantain puree, and after that you just cover it up and put it in the pot. Just very easy. So just cover it like that, and you see, so easy. You put it in the pot, inside the pot, and here, there we have it. Now this time I want to show you how to do it with a single leaf. It's the same process. You fold it over each other, bend the bottom to form that clone shape, and there's a hole in the middle that you're going to pour in the puree and cover it, the plantain puree, cover it, and there you have it. Very easy method to fold, to wrap this. So it's the same method if you want to cook beans moimoi, or if you want to make agidi, whatever thing you are wrapping with leaf. So after that I'm just going to put the remaining of the leaf on top. I'm just going to cover it, and after that I'm just going to go ahead and add a little amount of water, so that, because I was not so sure that the water I put at the bottom was okay. Although when you're cooking moimoi with leaf, it doesn't take long time, because the leaf is very easy, it's very soft. So let's put it on the fire, and now allow it to cook for like 20 minutes. This is after 20 minutes. Now let's unwrap it. You see, it came out perfect, very yummy. Let's unwrap another one. Just remove the leaf, and yeah, there we have it. Plantain moimoi. You see how good it is. Oh my goodness, it looks so good, and it's also awesome. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's recipe is atadindi, or Nigerian fried palm oil stew. So the name is derived from the ingredients because of the peppers used. I use bell peppers, koshibone, chili peppers, and of course some onions. These are the main ingredients for this recipe. So you can either use fish or chicken or turkey or beef, whatever, or you can combine, but today I'm going to be using Titus fish to cook mine. So stay tuned to the end of this video to see how it's going to turn out. Okay, so this is me cutting the fish. Now I'm removing the fins, and then I'm going to cut it into tiny pieces, because I like cutting my fish into smaller pieces for quick cooking, of course. So now after cutting it, I'm just going to go ahead and wash it very well, and then season it with this fish seasoning with some curry powder, ginger powder, everything mixed together, and allow it to marinate for about 2 to 3 hours, depending on how much time you have. So I've mixed everything now. As you can see, I'm just going to go ahead to cover it and allow it to marinate, so that all the seasoning, all the spices can, soak into the fish very well, for that delicious taste, flavor, aroma, everything combined. So this is me covering it. Now I'm just going to cover it and set it aside. So while we're waiting for it, I'm just going to clean up the peppers for blending. I've washed it. I'm just removing the seed and cutting it into smaller pieces to enable it blend very well. So this is the bell peppers. Don't mind the size. This was the size I saw in Nigerian markets, although they have the bigger one, but before you see that one, you should go in shopping malls. So this is the one I could lay my hands on, as at the time I needed it. So I'm just slicing it and adding it into the blender for blending. So this one is the chili peppers. As you can see, I'm cutting it, and of course I'm also going to blend some onions with it, and then fry, or rather saute the other onion when I'm ready to fry this after blending. So cut it up, repeat the same process for others, and then blend. As you can see, it's blending. I prefer to blend mine roughly, but if you want yours to be very smooth, you can go ahead and blend it very smooth. So after blending, I just want to sieve out the excess water, So in a saucepan, I added palm oil, onions. This onion is for flavor because I want the fish to have that onion aroma. That's how we usually, in fact I grew up doing this. That's how most of us do this in Nigeria. So the fish now is ready to fry. So I'm just going to fry it until it's nice and crispy. Then I'm just going to go ahead and remove it while we continue the cooking process.
Like Egusi soup, jollof rice, breakfast, and ideas. You can find us on Instagram as Hodelty, Facebook page.
So the fish is ready. I did not show the part where I flipped it over for the other side to fry because it was splashing, So now I have to put off the heat and then remove it from the oil. It's ready to be used, properly fried. The next thing I'm going to do now is using this same oil that I used for the fish. I'm still going to use the same oil to prepare the palm oil sauce or palm oil stew. So stay tuned, watch to the end and see how it's going to come out. So what I did there was remove that onions I added to fry the fish. Now the oil is hot. Now I'm adding some nicely fresh and chopped onions. Allow it to saute for a couple of minutes and then pour in the blended mix.
We showcase food recipes, Nigerian food like Egusi soup, jollof rice, breakfast, and ideas.
Now that the pepper is in, we're just going to give it a very good stir. Mix everything up.
Stay tuned and share our videos.
Did you notice that the oil is gone? All the oil, this pepper don't swallow everything. Well, it's still going to release it when it's very, very fried. So just keep stirring. This is about 10 minutes. I'm still going to fry it for another 10 minutes before adding the ingredients. So stay tuned. As you can see, the oil is beginning to bubble up. So this is another 20 minutes. I'm adding 2 seasoning cubes due to the quantity of this pepper, but you can adjust yours. You can use 1 or 3 or more depending on the quantity of the peppers you are using. So this is grounded crayfish, of course, is needed for this local recipe, and this is smoked fish. It's totally optional. You can add moimoi if you want. You can use snail. You can use whatever of your choice. So that salt is very necessary. So I'm just going to combine everything together.
Stay tuned and share our videos.
As you can see, it's ready. You can see the oil is floating now. So at this stage, this is a sign to know that this pepper is properly fried. It's fried pepper, of course, that's what the recipe says. So at this stage, it's time to add the protein. I'm adding the fried fish at this stage and let everything soak in for another 5 minutes before removing it from heat. One thing you should know is that when you are using fish, you should be very careful when you are stirring it. If not, you end up like the fish may turn to pieces or scattered. So just be careful while stirring it so that you don't end up messing up fried fish. So guys, the look, the aroma, the taste, everything about this recipe is just amazing. And the good thing is that you can adjust the spiciness. If you don't want yours to be too spicy, then you don't use a lot of scotch bonnet. So you see, it's so delicious. It goes well with plantain. Yummy. If you'd like to see how I dismantled the head of this fish. You can check out my mukbang videos. Hi guys, let's make a simple fish sauce that we can use to eat rice, yam or plantain. So you'll be needing some peppers, bell peppers, tomatoes, palm oil, the fish, and of course the vegetable. You can use ugu leaves or eforiro or tete, whichever one you have, or even spinach. Now to begin, go ahead and steam the fish with some onions, some peppers, some seasoning, in fact everything to make it taste good. Alright, so I have some garlic powder, ginger powder, and one seasoning cube with a little bit of spicy pepper, again adding to the fresh one I have added. So I'm just going to add just little amount of water and let it cook for like 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so while it's cooking and it's fully done, go ahead and remove the bones. After that, in a hot pan, add some palm oil, sliced onions. After that, add the chopped pepper and tomatoes. This is it. It's just roughly blended. So after that, just go ahead and stir everything to combine. This is a very simple recipe. You don't need too much serere, and it goes so well with rice. I'm telling you the truth. And another thing about this is that it's budget friendly. Just palm oil, onions, tomatoes. You can just get all that for like 500 naira, and then add your seasoning cube once it's dried down a little bit. After that, go ahead and add the crayfish powder, but if you don't have it, it's okay, it's still optional. Don't forget your salt though. Now mix everything, allow it to fry for some minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes more, until it's fully fried. As you can see, the liquid has reduced. Now I already shredded the fish. I'm going to go ahead to add it into the sauce. Don't forget to remove the bones, remove as much as you can. Alright, now after that, just mix everything to combine. The aroma in this thing is so nice, it's so easy, and if you're tired of regular stew, just go ahead and make this recipe. You're definitely gonna enjoy it, trust me. Now once it's fully combined, you've said everything, the next thing we're going to do is to go ahead and add the vegetable. But before then, you remember the water you got from steaming the fish? Let's add the water because it already has its own seasoning, right? So that's why I added just one seasoning cube to that particular sauce, because this one already had one in it. So we have to be very careful when we're cooking, so I will not over season our food. Now once I'm done with the fish stock, I went ahead to add this bell peppers for garnishing. Alright, you can slice it to whatever shape you like. After that, I'm just going to add the sliced vegetable, that's the leaf. Like I said, you can use ugu leaf, eforiro, eforiro, or if you're using scent leaf, just a little. You know that one is way conk than this. So after that, just combine. Don't allow it to overcook again once your vegetable is inside. Alright, don't allow it to overcook, and it's ready. See, so delicious, it goes well with rice. Please don't forget. Hi everyone, today's recipe is Ogbono soup and wheat fufu, but I'm not showing the wheat fufu in this video. This video is all about the Ogbono soup. So if you want to know how to make the perfect Ogbono, just watch to the end. Welcome to Boda's Kitchen. My name is Sharon. So I'm going to introduce all the ingredients to you now. That is the grounded Ogbono powder, that's how it looks, and this other one is grounded crayfish powder. As you can see, some crayfish in it, and this is palm oil. This is what we use for the Ogbono soup. And then I have ugu leaves, but you can use other leaves like oha leaves as well. You can use bitter leaf, or you can mix both. And I have some stock fish here as well. This part is called the ear or the cod, so you can use dry fish or beef. And what is Ogbono soup without kpomo? This is kpomo, cow skin. And I have my local spices, ukbe, ground pepper, salt, and some Maggi cubes. Alright, so to begin, I'm going to wash the stock fish with a generous amount of salt and hot water. The reason I'm using hot water is because it helps to clean the fish very well. whatever worms or whatever dirt that might be on the fish due to processing and packaging. The hot water will help to overpower it. So I seriously recommend us washing our fish, especially dry fish, with hot water, depending on where you are buying from. If you are buying from the company where it's directly packaged and you trust them, no problem. But if you are buying from our local Nigerian market, you know they are usually exposed to dust due to how they shade it on the road. So please do well to wash your soup ingredients very well so that we don't end up eating a lot of dirt. So after washing it, after soaking it with water, I'm going to go ahead and wash the moimoi as well. This is cow skin that has been roasted, so I'm just going to go ahead and scrape off the skin a little bit. That's how I usually wash my moimoi. And then after scraping, I've not done scraping though, I scrape the outside and I scrape the inside as well. I think it's very important to wash meat, fish very well before cooking. And if you think it's kind of difficult for you to scrape like that, just go ahead and cut it so that you can be able to penetrate all the corners and scrape out every dirt from it. Because if you don't do this process for cow skin, you may end up eating sand due to the how it was processed. Sometimes they contain sand, so it's good to wash it very well. So I've washed it. Now I'm transferring it into a very clean pot, and then I'm adding the fish as well. I've rinsed it from the water and it's a little bit soft, so I'm not going to cook it for a very long time. Now I'm adding all the seasoning, the pepper, the maggi, salt, and the okra. This okra is optional. If you don't have access to it, you can use iru, which is locust beans, or ogirigo. So I just added everything, scrape everything inside the pot, and then I'm going to add water because Ogbono soup requires water. Yes, I said it. So after this, I'm just going to cover it and transfer it onto the stove. So while that's there, I'm going to measure half cup of the grounded ogbono and add it to the palm oil. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to use the whole ogbono for this recipe, so I just bought that from the market. I'm going to use half of it and save the remaining half for later. So this is me adding it into the palm oil now, and I'm going to mix everything together. Just watch and see how it turns out. Okay, so after mixing it, I'm just going to heat it up, and the process I'm going to use is I'm going to put it inside the boiling meat and fish, but you can use a microwave to heat it up if you have one, or it's just necessary to heat it so that the ogbono soup will not have lumps. That is the reason for this step that I'm doing now. So I just finished mixing it now, and I'm going to go ahead and transfer it into the boiling pot. This is the fish, and the moimoi is beginning to get hot, but it's not fully boiling yet. So I just giving it one more stir before adding the ogbono. So just watch how I place it on top. Make sure your plate is clean before putting it on top, but also be observant of the kind of plates you use. Is recommended to use a stainless plate, but if your glass bowl is strong, go ahead. So I just removed it now. It was in there for like 5 minutes, and the ogbono has melted, as you see. Now this once is boiling, the aroma from that, oh my goodness. I'm adding the ogbono right now. As you can see, I've added it. I'm scraping everything because in this Nigeria economy, wastage is not allowed. So I just added it, and I'm going to mix it very well so that everything can combine, and allow it to cook. You see how easy and simple to cook ogbono soup is. Oh my god, if you love ogbono soup and you don't know how to achieve the perfect ogbono, just try this my step and tell me how it comes out. So the ogbono is not fully cooked yet, but I'm still mixing it because I don't want any error. You know, in African kitchen you must mix your soup very well. You must mix it so that salt will not be sitting at the top and water at the bottom. That is not allowed. So I'm going to go ahead and add a very little amount of water because I noticed the soup will be very thick once it's ready. So I added a little amount of water and I'm just going to allow it to boil for some time before I add a little bit of seasoning if there is need. So guys, I tasted the soup and I added a little bit of my crayfish powder. There is no need for more salt or pepper or maggi. No. The taste is absolutely delicious and amazing. But if you taste yours and you need more salt, just go ahead. But you know, ogbono soup can be tricky. You may want to add little salt and you end up putting a lot. That will not be nice. So now it's time to add our ugu leaves. You know, in Nigeria we cook almost all the soup with ugu. Egusi soup or okra soup or everything we must put ugu, apart from afang though. So I've added the ugu leaves and I'm just going to stir it so that everything can combine. At this stage our soup is ready. You can see that bubbling. Once you see your ogbono bubbling like that, don't cook it further, if not it will lose its elasticity. So right now the soup is ready and we don't want to overcook the vegetable as well. So I'm just going to let it boil for a few seconds and off the heat. So it's ready and it came out so well. So I made wheat swallow with it. If you want to see how I made this wheat swallow, the video is on my channel. I uploaded it a few days ago, so go watch it. Now you see the ogbono came out so well, so delicious. Let me know what you think about this recipe. How would you prepare yours? Is this your first time? in this video I'm going to be sharing with us how to make wheat fufu using wheat flour, so watch to the end. To begin, you need water. The quantity will depend on the amount of fufu you want. So you also need some wheat flour. I'm using Honeywell wheat flour. You can get it from your supermarket or you can get it from any African store. So to begin, I'm just going to go ahead and measure the quantity. I'm measuring 1.5 cup. Meanwhile, water is on the pot, is inside the pot on the stove. So while we're waiting for it to boil, I'm just going to go ahead and measure it, and we continue the whole cooking process. So if you want to see how it turns out, just watch this video to the end. This is 1 cup already. I'm just going to turn it into the plate and measure the remaining half cup.
And ideas. You can find us on Instagram as Bodelsti, Facebook page Bodelsti Kitchen. Stay tuned.
Right now I just checked and the water has started boiling. So this is what we want. Just reduce the heat and start adding the wheat flour into the water while you are stirring it very well. So after adding, continue stirring until everything is properly mixed and smooth, just like the way I'm doing. Keep watching. If you notice that your wheat fufu is too hard for you, just go ahead and add a little amount of water. Or if you think it's too soft and you need more flour, then you can adjust, add a little amount of wheat flour. It's just that easy.
Bodelsti Kitchen with Sharon, entertainment, educative and fun. We showcase food recipes, Nigerian food like Egusi soup.
If you notice, the wheat fufu is becoming smooth now. It's beginning to form shape, and this is what we are waiting for. So I'm still going to continue stirring. It's very important when making fufu. In fact, any kind of fufu, either amala or semo or wheat, this stirring and turning is very important for it to be very smooth. So now at this stage it's already smooth and I want it to be properly cooked. So I'm just going to create like a little space in between, and then I'm going to add little amount of water and then cover it for like 2 minutes. So I've added the water. I'm going to cover it on a low heat and let it cook properly for about 2 minutes. So as you can see, it has been boiling. The water is still boiling. So I'm just going to stir everything together. At this stage, the wheat fufu is properly done. So I'm just going to off the stove and stir very, very well.
Nigerian food like Egusi soup, jollof rice, breakfast and ideas. You can find us on Instagram as Bodelsti, Facebook page Bodelsti Kitchen. Stay tuned and share our videos.
Now it's okay. At this stage it's okay, it's properly done. As you can see, it's beginning to draw a little bit. I'm just showing you, I'm just pointing the pot to the camera so that you can see what I'm talking about. So at this stage it's done and it's ready to remove from heat. So I'm going to serve mine with Ogbono soup. If you want to see how I made this Ogbono soup, check out my video. I uploaded the recipe on how to make ogbono soup. So this one is a very low budget ogbono.
We showcase food
Costs
recipes,
less
Nigerian food like
3,000
Egusi
naira.
soup,
So
jollof rice,
yeah, the wheat
breakfast, and ideas.
fufu is
You
ready,
can find us on
and
Instagram as
it's
Hodel's
amazing.
Tea,
It tastes really
Facebook
good, and
page,
it's a very
Hodel's
healthy
Tea Kitchen.
recipe. Why
Stay
it's
tuned
healthy is
and
because it
share our
has
videos.
lesser calories compared to Africa. And we are going to stop by in the country Nigeria, Delta State to be precise, because that is where I learned how to make this particular egusi soup pepper soup recipe, or let me just say egusi pepper soup recipe, whichever one is actually easier for us to understand. Now you see me roasting the melon. It is totally optional, but I love to roast my melon. It gives that aroma like a burnt peanut or roasted peanut. Now the ingredients here is crayfish, seasoning powder, pepper powder, salt, pepper soup spider, and this particular one is the melon, the roasted melon that I have grinded. You can see the color. And this here, dried fish, dry catfish. This is what we call native fish in Nigeria. There are different type of dry fish though. We have the river fish, we have stock fish, a lot, and that's clove. I'm going to blend everything together with this pepper. So this is me adding the pepper into the blender and the cloves. Now you can use uda. There's a pepper soup spice called uda. Then we have the other one called calabash nutmeg. That one too is a pepper soup spice, so you can use any of that, but for me I'm using ready-made pepper soup powder, pepper soup spice powder. So it's already been grinded everything, so I'm just going to blend the peppers and the melon together. After that, I'm just going to go ahead to wash the catfish very well. You know, those of us that buy stuff from the local Nigerian markets, if you very conversant with the Nigerians and its environs, you agree with me that most Nigerian markets are usually located along the road. Yes, they're usually along the roadside. You can just come down from your okada or keke or from your car, and you just stroll into the market, and you see all your stuff first, and everything is just usually shaded on the floor, on tables, no covers. So there is every tendency for dust to settle on these things we eat. Melon, ogbono, fish is very advisable for us to always wash our stuff very well, in order for us to eat healthy and not ending up eating lots and lots of dirt. So after washing, I'm going to rinse it for a few more times until the water runs clear, and then I'm going to go ahead to add it into a clean pot. After adding the fish into a clean pot, I'm going to add the moimoi, which is the cow skin. I've cut it into smaller pieces, and mind you can use all the other protein of your choice. Now this is me adding the pepper soup spices, seasoning powder, pepper powder, and a little bit of salt, and then some amount of water. Yes, don't forget you can use chicken, ogufe, which is goat meat, cow meat, fresh fish, tilapia, river fish, any protein of your choice. Just do it according to your pocket, according to your taste buds. So now the fish has been properly cooked. I checked it, now it's very soft. I'm just going to go ahead to add the blended melon seed. Remember, the melon was roasted, so there's no need for us to cook it for so much time. But if you are using the raw melon that has not been roasted, I'll advise you to cook it for a very long amount of time, like let's say 30 minutes. It should be on the stove boiling very well for 30 minutes. The reason I'm advising this is because if you just go ahead and cook it for a short time, it may upset your stomach. Okay, so now the egusi soup is almost ready. I'm just going to go ahead to rinse in all the remaining grinded melon that was in the blender. Then I'm going to add a little bit of salt. I tasted it, the salt was not enough, so I'm adding more crayfish. Oh, I haven't added the crayfish before, so I'm just going to add the crayfish. The crayfish will also serve as thickener to the soup, and then we're going to let it boil very well. We're going to allow it to cook for a very long time, for like 10 to 15 minutes. It will boil very well. So while it's boiling, I'm going to go ahead to slice the vegetable. This is scent leaf, so I just add just little amounts of scent leaf and still allow it to boil. So good. This egusi soup is very good. You can eat it with your fufu, eba, pounded yam, semo, wheat swallow, wheat fufu, any kind of fufu of your choice. You can use it for your African food mukbang, or if you want to try something new, you don't want to use the frying method of cooking egusi soup, just try something new and you'll see you definitely love it. The major ingredients for this egusi soup is actually the pepper soup spice and the roasting of the melon. Those are the two major steps that you need to take note, when you want to cook this soup. If you get to try it and you love it, kindly leave me a comment in the comment section, and kindly send me a picture on my Facebook page, Bodesty's Kitchen. It's there. I usually share some of my live videos and behind the scenes.
Yeah. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. Bodesty's Kitchen. Bodesty's Kitchen. Bodesty's Kitchen. Bodesty's Kitchen. Bodesty's Kitchen. Oh yeah. Bodesty's Kitchen. Bodesty's Kitchen. Bodesty's Kitchen. Say you want chop with the hunger, need a multi-burger. Everything needed, everything needed, we know they tell you. Say na Bodesty's Kitchen, we shall run, we dey run them more. Bodesty's Kitchen, we shall run, now we dey run them more. Bodesty's Kitchen with Sharon, entertainment, educative and fun. We showcase food recipes, Nigerian food like egusi soup, jollof rice, breakfast, and ideas. You can find.
Alright. Now the secret ingredient in this soup is the local spice, which is the okra and the dry okra. Here are the ingredients as I've shown you guys. I have the moimoi fish, palm oil, ugu leaves, okra, salt, everything together. And this here is stock fish. Okay. Now let's continue with the entire cooking process. That's the cow skin, as I have mentioned earlier. That's the fish, and definitely the ugu leaves. You can use whatever leaf of your choice, and if you don't want to add leaf, it's totally optional. Okay. And here is the okra itself. It's so fresh. I got this okra for 250 naira. Now to begin, we have to start by prepping the ingredients. This here is okwe. It's called okwe, but it's a local spice. So after pounding the dry okra, this is what it looks like when it's pounded. Now let's begin. I pour in the fish into a pot and I add the stock fish. I already washed the stock fish with salt and hot water. If you've been following my channel, you know that I like washing stock fish with salt and hot water. So I added the cow skin, which is the momo, into the pot. I add in the powdered pepper and some salt. You can use fresh pepper, freshly blended pepper, and this is seasoning. That is Maggi cubes. Okay, I have 2 Maggi cubes there, and then I pour in the dry okra that I have pounded. If you don't have it, it's okay, you can skip. And if you are using chicken or beef, just pre-cook it first before you continue with the cooking process. So just cover it and let's continue. I went on to slice the okra. The okra has been washed. Always wash your vegetables properly, especially if you're buying it from the African market or Nigerian market where there are dust, because most times they shade their market on the roadside where vehicles and bike usually pass, and there's usually dust on them. So it's very important for us to wash it very well. Now this is how I love to slice my okra, but if you don't want to slice it with knife like this, you can use a fruit processor to chop it, or even a blender to blend it. But if you blend it, it will be way too slimy. In fact, beyond your control, the soup will be too slimy. So once you finish slicing it, just go ahead and continue with the cooking process. For now, we're still slicing. Wondering where I got that rubber band from? It's from the stock fish. Most stock fish are usually packed with rubber band. That's why we always have plenty of rubber band. So this is what it looks like after chopping. Now to process the ogbono, that's the blended ogbono, I went on to add the palm oil, and I'm just going to mix it together until the whole palm oil and the ogbono is combined. This is how my Nigerian mother or African mother taught me how to cook this soup, and I so much love it. In fact, I've been craving for it. You see that okra, that black stuff that I pounded with the dry okra, those two ingredients will change your ogbono soup game or your okra soup game, because the two combined together is so yummy and delicious. I just love it. What are you going to eat this soup with? Let me know in the comment section, and also let me know where you are watching from. I'd like to give you a shout out. So after mixing, I'm just going to transfer it into the microwave to heat it up or to melt it. That's how it looks once it's out, just like 5 minutes into the microwave. That's what it looks like. Now our food, our fish and the moimoi is already boiling, and this is the right time to add the ogbono. Always check if your moimoi is soft. If your moimoi is not soft, make sure to cook it for extra minutes or extra time so it will be soft before adding this ogbono. It's very important because the ogbono doesn't need a lot of time to cook. Once you add it, it doesn't take up to 7 minutes and it's already ready. So now after pouring it, the next thing we're going to do is mix everything. Just gently pour anything. Be careful so your fish doesn't get scattered. Some people don't like using fresh fish for this ogbono soup, but once you have enough pepper in there, what else? Why won't you use it? Now this is how it looks. It's boiling now. It's time to add the okra. This is the chopped okra. Time to add it. After adding, we're just going to gently mix it together. At this stage, if your okra soup is not sweet, this is time to adjust the seasoning. If you need little salt, if you need little pepper, just adjust it. Put little. If it doesn't need, you are good to go. If it's too thick, add a little amount of water. I'm definitely going to add water in this my own because I can figure that it's thick. And one thing about ogbono, if the soup is too thick, the ogbono will not be very slimy. It will just be thick in your soup. So just take notes. If you are cooking ogbono and there's so much water, it will not draw, but if there's not a lot of water, it will still not draw. That's one thing about ogbono. Now I've added a little, like 1 cup of water, and yeah, see, it's still cooking. You're gonna definitely love the process. Now after this step, it's time to add the last ingredient, which is the vegetable. Like I said before, you can use whatever leaf of your choice. You can use ugu leaves, you can use bitter leaf, or even scent leaf, or her leaves, or okazi leaf. So I added a little bit of salt because I noticed as I added the water, the taste was not that yummy like before. And I added crayfish cube. Okay, now it's time to mix everything together, and yeah, our soup is almost ready. This soup goes well with fufu, pounded yam, plantain fufu, cassava fufu, eba, gari, cabbage fufu, carrot fufu, starch, any kind of fufu. This soup goes well with it. This is the best soup for your fufu and okra mukbang. You know those videos where people are doing eating show? This is how they prepare the okra or the ogbono soup. And if you don't want to add your okra to the ogbono soup, this is still the same method of cooking it. You can skip the okra and just cook it like that. Add your ogbono and your vegetable and you're good to go.